Welcome to the Band Room Podcast. My name is Dylan Maddox.
And I'm Cait Nishimura.
And here we are for Season 5.
That's a nice fanfare.
You like that? Once again, the confetti will come down.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome everyone to Season 5 of the Band Room Podcast. We're very excited to have made it this far, and we thank you for your support to get us this far. And
Season 5. That's amazing.
Yeah. We don't really have any big Season 5 announcements. We're just happy to be back because we took a bit of about a month break doing things, mostly because we needed a break, but also because ASU was very busy for me at the beginning. So things are smoothing out now, and we have time to record again, which is awesome. How's it going, Cait?
It's going. I'm excited to get back into recording podcasts with you. This particular one, we're just doing the two of us, but I am really excited to get to talk to exciting guests this upcoming season. And I'm doing good. How about you? I know things have been kind of chaotic getting back into the school year and everything.
It's been okay. You know, I got locked out of the building today, and we were a little late starting. But other than that, Dr. Jamal Duncan saved me and let me in the building, so that worked out. It's been good. Just kind of finding the stride again, which is good. And as I was telling you before, it's very different for me this year mentally, just because I know everyone. There's a lot less kind of insecurities and all those fun things that come with being in a new place, which I'm happy about. So, and I have two new colleagues, which is awesome, Anna Scott and Kevin Joseph, and they are both wonderful. So I'm looking forward to a good year with lots of fun stuff happening, which I'll share when it happens.
But before we get into our questions that some of our listeners have submitted and just things that we're going to talk about together today, I'll just remind our fantastic listeners / viewers to make sure that you've subscribed to the Band Room Podcast, especially now that we're putting stuff out in video format. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It will really help us grow and connect with new people. If you want to take the extra step to leave us a rating and or a review or a comment or anything, that really goes a long way to help us out, and share the episodes that you like with people that you think might be interested in what we're doing. And if you want to support the podcast in another way, there's something else you could do as well.
You could become a patron of the Band Room Podcast through Patreon. We have a Patreon page where we upload various bonus episodes, and there's some merch if you want to be that level of supporter, those kind of things. Coffee mugs. Ooh, wow. So all of those things you can get on by becoming a patron of the Band Room Podcast, and you can do that by visiting patreon.com/bandroompod. That's patreon.com/bandroompod to become a patron of this podcast. But without further ado, here is our guests, us. And then there's music. Oh, hi. Yeah, okay. And we're here. We thought it might be fun to start off the season just with us, to answering some questions. These are some of my favorite episodes to do, and I think maybe this season there'll actually be more of them, with just Cait and I hanging out.
We like to talk a lot.
We do.
You know, we get into it, and we only need a couple of topics, and then we'll just kind of feed off of each other and do that. And the feedback has been good. People seem to like when we talk to each other about things. So
friendship.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll just go at, these are in no particular order. These have come from listeners, specifically one dear friend and listener who has helped us out greatly by supplying the majority of the questions.
Whole list of questions.
But there's still great questions. So thank you, Ashley Killam, for all these questions. Also, Stevie Salima, thank you for your questions as well. Yay. So there's some. But next time, everyone else needs to pick up the slack and ask us more questions. I probably shouldn't have admitted it was just two people that asked those questions, but they're great questions.
We didn't need any more.
Yeah.
If we
Yeah.
didn't get those questions, we would have had to like ask for more questions or
Actually,
like
I
come
wanna
up with
talk about
questions for
this.
each other. Okay.
I want to talk about this. We
Okay.
we always post like ask us a question or whatever,
Mhm.
and there's like 50 people who like it. Like, why do you click the heart, but then you just don't type a question?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
do
a
you
good
read the
question.
thing?
Maybe
I'm
they're
just
just trying
wondering.
to show support, like, ooh, you're doing another one of those episodes. I like that.
Oh, I was almost
I
really
don't
rude and
know.
said, I don't need your support. I need your questions. That's
No,
what I
we need it
need.
all.
Anyway, okay.
Maybe they have no questions.
I'm just feeling spicy because I got locked out of the building this morning.
It's a good way to start the day.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask you this question.
Okay.
This is from Ashley. What song currently fits your mood? Any genre?
Okay, this is so tough because I listen to a lot of music and it does kind of change. Like if you would ask me that a few hours ago or a few hours from now, it might change. So I like that it's, not what's your favorite song, but like what song fits your mood. So lately I've been listening to this album called Total Freedom by Kathleen Edwards. She's a Canadian singer-songwriter, one of my all-time faves. And I had the opportunity to actually go to a concert of hers a few weeks ago it was like an intimate garden venue. There were probably like 200 people there, and we were all under this tent surrounded by like botanical gardens. And she just did like an all acoustic show, and it was a magical experience. So I've been kind of listening to a lot of her music since then because it was such a fun, memorable time. So I think the song of hers that resonates most with me right now is called Birds on a Feeder. And you, Dylan, and everyone out there knows that I love birds and all things nature, but this is a really beautiful song that's just it kind of captures the essence of like being alone and being okay with it, like being at peace with your surroundings, feeling connected, and not needing anybody and nobody needing you. Just this sort of like beautiful solitude thing. And the lyrics are like, I've got birds on a feeder, I've got dogs and they're sleeping, no one to need me. And it's just this like really peaceful, serene kind of thing. I don't have dogs, I have cats, but substitute the right animal. And anyway, it's a really, really beautiful song. And I got to hear her perform it in this beautiful garden. And as she said, I've got birds on a feeder, there were like actual birds like in the garden chirping and flying around, and it was just so magical. So anyway, that's my choice today.
Wow, great choice.
Yeah. What about you?
What about me? Well, first thing I was going to say was we had a football game on Thursday against Northern Arizona University, and we won because we're the best. But we played Top Gun, and then a plane flew by.
All these like moments of synchronicity. Yeah.
Yeah. It was not so like fun. A military flyover or anything, but it was pretty cool.
That's pretty epic. Cool. Yeah.
Thank you, Southwest. Said no one ever. So my favorite song. So I used to be one of those people that I love people who listen to band music, and I think that's great because we are the band room. But I also now am of the ilk in which I try not to listen to band music. So right now, one of my favorite bands is a band called Lawrence. And it's like a brother and sister duo, and all their friends.
Nice.
But my favorite song that I listen to them is called "Don't Lose Sight." I think that would describe my mood right now. There's a swear word in it, and I don't know if I can say it here on the podcast. We like YouTube
can you bleep it out?
Apple Music will. Yeah, but it's like the song's basically about how like everyone's throwing stuff at you, but you still have to kind of go through that, and you can't lose sight. But they're just like a happy band, and I really like it. And some of the songs are kind of silly, but every morning I'll put like my phone really close to where I am in the shower, not in the shower because that would be bad. But I always listen to them every morning, so I start my day.
Aw,
Don't lose sight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And, well, we should put links to those songs in the episode notes so that people can check out what we're listening to. We should make like a band room podcast playlist of like songs that we like.
There we go.
And you should get a shower speaker. You can get those like Bluetooth speakers that are waterproof that you can put in the shower, and then you can listen to music and not risk ruining your phone.
Wow. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll look into it. We did just get another, what do you call it? Amazon Prime thing. So maybe my wife will enjoy that. So.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the next question.
Okay.
I feel like I know the answer just like generally, but maybe you can get more specific. So what is something that you're looking forward to this fall?
When does fall end? Like December?
Yeah.
November?
December.
Okay. Well, I guess, I don't know. Right now I'm not like super pumped. I mean, I'm excited for it, but my recital, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots going on. Like this fall it's going to be crazy. But I think the recital, everyone I've talked to, because we did our placements and everything for the who's playing on what concerts and things. So I'm really lucky that I get to work with the ASU Wind Ensemble for my recital. Like they're mine for that recital.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So everyone who's seen the rep and has come up and talked to me about how excited they are for it. Especially one of the euphonium players, like, thank you for giving me an actual euphonium part. And you can thank Kevin Lau for that. So, but anyway, so yeah, I'm really excited for that. My in-laws are coming down for it, which will be exciting. And and we'll see how many people we can fit into the ASU Organ Hall. If you're in Tempe, Arizona area, November 21st, come on by. Otherwise, it'll be live streamed, and I'll make sure to share it on our band room socials and things so you can see.
Yeah, that would be so fun if there were a bunch of people, like podcast listeners, community, just hanging out watching your live stream. Yeah.
I think I know most of the people in Arizona who listened to the podcast, but we'll see. So anyway, that's what I'm most excited about. How about you?
Well, fall is my favorite season. So I'm excited just to enter this season in general. Many people who know me know that I'm not a summer girl. I don't like being hot. I don't like.
Do not come visit me.
Yeah, maybe in the winter.
It's kind of fall.
Yeah. But yeah, fall and spring, the in-between seasons are always my favorite. So I'm excited about the trees changing colors, and mushroom season is coming, and bird migration season is coming, and all the beautiful, wonderful nature things. So I will say, and this is not music related, but it's sort of a life update anyway. This summer, spring and summer, I did my certification to be a forest therapy guide. So now that I'm finished, I'm excited about going into my first season, being able to like officially bring forest bathing experiences to other people. And I think being able to do this in the fall is kind of what prompted me to do the training earlier in the year, so that I would be ready to like do that in the fall, because I just think the forest is particularly beautiful in the fall. So this is something new that I'm going to be doing alongside all of my work as a composer and musician and all the things that I'm already doing. I'm adding now another aspect of what I do. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to see how my work in forest therapy kind of impacts my work as a composer and musician too, because as you know, like much of my music is inspired by nature already, but to kind of take that to the next level and like also be a person who helps other people find nature connection and healing through nature. I think that relationship between that aspect of my work and the musical aspect of my work is going to interact in a really cool way. So I'm kind of excited just to see like how that plays out. But on a musical note, I am excited for a number of performances this coming fall. Like I've heard from lots of people all over the world who have programmed my music. And this feels like the first season that we're kind of like most people are back to, I don't even want to say normal, but like, being able to program music that is really fulfilling, that calls for full instrumentation with live audiences. I know some people have been able to do that already, but there are a lot of places that haven't. And I feel like a lot of those places are now starting to be able to. So I guess I'm just excited to head into a season of real rewarding music making. And it brings me so much joy to know that people are choosing my music to be part of that. So.
Yeah. It's exciting. And now, a word from our sponsor. The Band Room Podcast is proudly supported by Kaleidoscope Adventures. Kaleidoscope Adventures is a full-service student trip planner with more than 26 years of inspiring student travel.
Dylan and I have had positive experiences on school music trips, so we both know how much these meaningful opportunities contribute to students' musical development and create lasting memories.
Kaleidoscope Adventures specializes in organizing unique trips to over 40 student-friendly destinations.
If you're planning a student trip, you can count on the Kaleidoscope Adventures professionals to collaborate with you to organize the perfect education or performance tour.
When you're ready to plan your next adventure, visit kaleidoscopeadventures.com. That's kaleidoscopeadventures.com. I actually have 3 of your pieces. I'm doing this just this semester.
This fall,
one.
Right? I know.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And then not any next semester. Also, I'm doing 2 of E.K.R. Hamill's pieces this semester as well. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, I had programmed Wilderness for the Maroon and Gold Band as the first concert I'm doing just with me. And one of the new first year trumpets came up to me and she said, is Cait that person on Instagram that is like really into nature and things? And I was like, yeah, that's her.
That is how I want to be known. That's nice.
Yeah. Composer second. So
yeah.
You were the nature person on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
well, we've talked about some of this stuff on the podcast, like being a person first, right? Like, who are you as a person? And or the next level of that is like being a musician first before focusing on like, conductor, composer, whatever you're doing specifically, performance major, education major, like you're a musician, and strengthening those skills and that identity of your, in general, is important. I think being a person first is important to remember. Like, composers are people, performers are people, right? So if people come to know me as like person first, I'm the nature person first, like that feels true. Yeah.
That reminds me, I've been ranting this week because when I come across someone who like either knows me here or they hear me say a word, they'll say something like, how's it going, eh? To me, because this whole Canadian thing in the Southwest, and I'm just like, can you recognize me as Dylan first and not Canadian Dylan? Okay, how about that? How about that? Huh? Hud, the athletic band director, every time he sees me now this year, he goes, "How's it going, eh?" I'm like, we need to stop this.
Yeah, putting the record out there, we don't talk like that. Like,
no.
And listeners, you've heard us talk on this podcast for this is season 5 now.
Let's
Have
test
we
it.
ever actually said someone's going to go through and try to find it anytime?
So, Cait, what kind of structure do you live in? Not specifically, but like,
a house.
Yes. Okay. Great. What do you have I don't know, a moving object in which gets you places? What do you call that?
A car.
Okay. What else? Yeah.
A moving object. Your answer would be like what? Bike? Electric bike.
Mine would be scooter.
Scooter.
But No, because where I'm from, we say car, like car.
Yes.
Like it's hard, kind of a hard A and a hard R. That's about house.
I do like.
House.
I don't think either of us say most of those things. Like most of those Canadianisms, people are referring to like Newfoundland or I don't know, like,
or like
prairies.
the prairies.
Yeah, a boat.
And that whole like, because I was with all the like the cool thing about ASU is we have we have, of course, as at any other school, we have specialized conducting programs, but here it's very much we're very close knit. So a bunch of us went out yesterday, but one person who did their undergrad at McGill from California went, when he found out I was Canadian, he said, "Taking her for a rip, bud, are we?" I'm like, I've never said that in my life.
No, I know. Have you watched the show Letterkenny?
No, but if one more person asks me,
yeah,
when they find out I'm Canadian,
the reason I asked you actually is because I think that's why other people who aren't Canadian have come to assume that everybody talks like that, because we have this like pretty popular show, giving this impression. We don't all sound like that.
Yeah. That being said, there are a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me get that rant out. What were we talking about? What we're most looking forward to this fall?
Yeah.
But now the next question, we'll actually get to some musical things. Although you had some really great advice there in that last question. What is on your music stand today / this week?
Okay.
That sounds like a diversity stand question to me.
It is a diversify the stand question for sure.
What do we call diversity stand?
Diversify the stand.
Yeah. Apologies.
DTS. Yeah. Shout out to Ashley and Carrie from Diversify the Stand. Go check out their wonderful podcast and their
resources.
Books. Yeah, they just released a trombone solo book in addition to their trumpet solo book. So anyways, little plug for them. Go check out all their stuff. Okay, so yeah, they always ask their guests on their podcast, what's on your stand? And I don't have anything on my stand. I don't have a music stand out right now. I'm not practicing. I'm not working towards any sort of like performance goals. I'm not doing anything like that at the moment. But I will reinterpret this question just to be something similar. I am working on a number of pieces in terms of like writing them. So I can show the visual people here. I have like manuscript paper booklet things like in every room of my house because inspiration strikes. Yeah, wherever I am. And I'm working on several projects at once, and that is not really how I like to work, but I've sort of bottlenecked all the deadlines, and I'm working on lots of things at once. But one thing that I'll just share because it's new, yesterday I wrote a drum set part in one of my pieces, and that's something that I've never done before, and I was kind of feeling weird about it, like, do people do this? And I know other people do this, but I'm not typically one of those people. And I've decided to let go of the fear of like other people wondering what the heck is going on with me. I'm going to lean into what my ideas are and what feels good. And it felt like that was the right thing to put into that moment. So just going to go with it. And I guess this is, I'm not really answering the question, but I think in a roundabout way, what I'm saying is I have a hard time listening to other concert music when I'm composing. I think it's not everybody's like that. Not every composer is like that. But for me, it's important to let my ideas live in my head. Like I don't listen to a lot of music when I'm writing because as I'm walking around throughout the day, my own projects that I'm working on kind of float around in my head, and it actually is really helpful for me to make space for that. So I don't tend to do a lot of like score study or listening to my friends and colleagues' music during this time. Once I finish everything, I will excitedly go through and listen to, new releases from all the other amazing composers that I know and all of that. But this is kind of, that phase of my creative cycle is like, I can't distract myself in that way. So sorry that I'm not really answering the question.
No, that's a great answer.
I will pass it to you though, because I know you have lots of really interesting, exciting things on your music stand.
Yeah, we got a lot. Yeah, there's a lot right now. Most recently, yesterday we did the first read of it. A Rafael Mendez piece called it's like the Three Mendez Trio. It was written for him and his two sons to play. So there's like a YouTube video which I'll link, and it's from like some TV show in the probably 50s or something, maybe earlier because it's black and white. But so we're doing that because our first concert of the season is celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
Nice.
So we have a couple of those, a couple of really fun pieces, and with that concert shared with the Wind Symphony as well. But we just read it with this all-star ASU trumpet studio trio, and they sound like $1 million.
That's awesome.
It is one of the best like university trumpet studios, and just hearing them play it yesterday together was so cool. But we actually have here at ASU, we have the Mendez Library, which houses hundreds of his arrangements and all these things. So we had his original parts.
Oh, cool.
And you should have seen them. Like, that's what we handed out initially. And we're like, this isn't going to work, because these are the parts he would take if he went to a high school or if he went to an orchestra. Like, they're the same parts. So each time he never knew what he was walking into. So there's these giant cuts, like literally these, like now they're like kind of brown colored cuts. I don't know what kind of ink it was. And like flute parts that say marimba on the top, and clarinet part that says violin 1. So he just used the band parts for all these things. And so anyway, we ended up just making a nicer version of it, just for ourselves. It's not publicly available due to copyright things. But so we have these nice clean parts, which is great. And doing that, other things, I don't know. Figures in the Garden by Jonathan Dove, who's a fantastic composer. And that's a great piece based off of Mozart's Marriage of Figaro. Doing that with the chamber winds. Lots of recital stuff, lots of Maroon and Gold Band stuff, including your piece Wilderness. And I should bring this up. It involves our friend Caitlin Bove. I just donated $20 to, and we were heard. And because of that, you get a march. And why wouldn't you want that? So we have this really great march called On Parade by Amanda Aldridge, who was a Black female composer in England. Like, those three things don't even sound like they ever existed, but she did exist. And she originally wrote this piece under a pen name, a male pen name. And then later, it's now public domain, and then Caitlin did a really nice edition of it. But it's and I know I'm not like the march person because I'm the Canadian, but it's a great march, and I think it's worthy to be up there with any of them. So we're doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
Not really thinking about recital stuff yet.
Yeah, you've got till November. No, I was just gonna say I love like when people had to use pen names, but then eventually, their true identity comes out, and to be able to recognize them for their work even after the fact. I always think it's kind of cool to be able to do that. So that's awesome.
So go check. Well, I'll link that too, because I think it needs more play. And there's a great recording of the University of Hawaii band playing it.
Amazing.
Which I think is on the And We Were Heard website as well. Anyway,
we'll put all the links for all the things. Yeah.
All of the things.
Yeah.
And now, a word from our sponsor. It seems like almost every episode we talk about the importance of community. Often maybe our guests bring it up to why they became interested in band. Community is a big part of why many of us do what we do.
Absolutely, and that's why I love our new partnership with the Canadian Band Association to share an opportunity for you to be part of a national community of band directors, musicians, and educators.
And becoming a member is easy. By joining your provincial band chapter, you automatically become a member of the Canadian Band Association.
No matter if you're in British Columbia, Newfoundland and Labrador, or anywhere in between, there is a band association for you.
Yes, even my homeland of Prince Edward Island. They started a new one, which is very exciting. Membership benefits include access to the Canadian Winds Journal, monthly e-news,
National Insurance Program, National Youth Band audition discounts for students, access to national awards and musician certificates.
not to mention all the great events your own provincial chapters will hold. Conducting workshops, community band events, reading sessions, workshops, and more.
Support band and music education in Canada through supporting the work being done by your local chapter.
To learn more about how you can become a member of the Canadian Band Association, visit canadianband.org/chapters to find info on how to connect with your provincial chapter. That's canadianband.org/chapters to learn how you can be part of the Canadian band community.
Well, I'll ask you. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'll ask you this.
Okay.
What is your best advice for having a successful rehearsal or practice session?
I mean, my first answer is not going to be terribly original. But
That's okay.
the more that you do, the more that you rehearse, the more that you score study and do all of these things, the realization that your level of preparation really, not only does it benefit the people that you're making music with, but just like mentally, as someone who's in front of, I don't know, 60 people, it puts you at ease when you know what's going
Yeah.
on in the piece that you're working on. It helps immensely with, just being able to teach things and help the problems that might be in front of you. So I just think, and it always sounds so obvious, but I always forget because, some of us have families, we have other commitments in our life that might take away, but just like taking little bites of and preparing and score studying will help immensely, which, when you're doing a doctoral degree often is not possible just because there's, at least here, because we're so blessed to have so much podium time that it's just like go and every week there might be a new thing, but that's probably my number one. The second one is just kind of a mindset thing. Don't go into the rehearsal room with the assumption that something will need fixing, and that something negative will happen and you'll have to fix it as the director person. I think switching it to more of like this idea of possibility and potential for me is something that I try to do often. Especially like even during the placement auditions this year, we had to, I did the placement auditions for the trumpet section for the Sun Devil Marching Band, and then I did some placements for the Maroon and Gold Band. And the fact that when we write notes about things, about where this person should be placed, it's like, oh, this was sharp, this was flat, blah, blah, blah. This person has bad tone, this person has a good tone. For me, even in that moment, I'm thinking of what that tone could be, what that articulation can be in the band, and what kind of things I'm going to have to work with that year. So just trying to go into the room with more of a positive, and I don't mean it in a BS kind of way, but like just truly trying to look into the future and see what can be.
I think that's really good advice. Yeah, because like mindset is everything, really. And actually both of the things that you suggested were sort of mindset related, right? Like preparation is not just knowing your stuff, it's also being mentally and physically prepared to do the thing that you're about to do. And that includes things like, getting a good sleep, like being hydrated, creating boundaries in your life that allow you to like be present for what you're doing. Like all of that stuff is kind of included in, or at least I think it should be like in the preparation for these things. and
Also, last
seeing the
thing.
potential in people. I think that's so nice. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just because I've had this conversation a couple times in the past couple weeks with people, and Leonard Bernstein said it, but it's just like you make music with the people who are in front of you, and
Yeah.
you don't complain about the people who are in front of you.
Yeah.
Because I know, and everyone has their different philosophies and everything, but I really enjoyed what Jonathan Grantham said like a couple months ago when he was on,
Yeah.
but this whole people, process, and product thing
Yeah.
is really something that I live by, and I
Mhm.
understand that like we all have, because when I say that, some people assume that I throw away quality,
Right.
but it's always my assumption that like quality is there, and quality is there because we put people first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it, I hate the process versus product thing. Yeah, I know both both are equal. They need
Yep.
to be there, obviously, but
Yep.
that people thing for me is really important, because I don't, and it happens to me too, you know, and maybe to you sometimes when you might hear a band play your piece, and it maybe it's not, you know, the situation in the moment
It
isn't
happens.
great.
Yeah.
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 But there's, you know, that's what it is, and generally we can make anyone become a better musician and a better appreciator of the sounds that they're able to make, and the music they get to play, and how that connects to their life and all that fun stuff. So make music with the people in front of you, please make the
Yeah.
world a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good reminder. And I would argue that the quality or the product or whatever, like that
Mhm.
comes as a result of prioritizing those other things.
Yeah.
Like you can't just skip over all of that and get to like, well, I'm focused on, you know,
Mhm.
quality performance. Like, so are you. So is Jonathan Grantham. So are these people that are advocating for people first sort of approaches to education
Mhm.
and music making. Like, it's just, you know, how are you motivating people? Are you motivating people through fear, or are you motivating people through love? And,
Mhm.
you know, if you are uplifting people and empowering people, they're going to strive for quality and excellence on their own because you believe in
Mhm.
them and they believe in each other and themselves. To me, that's a much more effective way to get to that goal. You're
Yeah.
not actually like sacrificing that goal or that quality or end result. You're actually, this is just the method that you're trying to get there,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the other thing that I've been thinking about this week, especially actually, as I continue to make my research more specific, I've been thinking about the intrinsic versus extrinsic motivations of being a band director and going to an event like Midwest or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the thing that I've been thinking about often is that that extrinsic thing often leads us in what we're doing. So because it's a metric that non-music people understand. Like if I have a Midwest performance, or I win a trophy at a thing, that's a metric that people can measure.
Right.
But often our intrinsic motivations will lead us to that anyway.
Yeah.
If it's something that's true to you as an artist and as an educator or whatever you do, yeah, because it that's probably the number one thing that comes up every single guest that we have.
Yeah.
And of course it's always a balance between
Yeah,
this
for sure.
intrinsic and extrinsic thing, but
Mhm.
but the people that I respect most are the people who followed that intrinsic motivation, and then
Yeah.
you know, stuff happens for them, not because they were like, oh, I need that, but it's because they were doing really good work that they believed in, that they
Exactly.
whatever their passion was and their inspiration was.
Yeah.
Anyway, more to come.
Totally agree with all of that. And that's actually
Um,
why I wrote Intrinsic Light, right? That's the
mhm.
title of a piece of mine that is inspired by music educators and music students that show up because they want to, because they
Mhm.
are in love with the music making process. And that was sort of my ode to like just the community of music education and band and all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
For-
we actually, I'll take this opportunity to plug the other thing that we're going to do.
Yeah.
This is an unintentional segue. Look at that. But
Perfect.
yeah, we are going to be recording a new series where we dig deep into pieces by some of your favorite composers. And now I regret saying that because we're starting with me, and I don't want to make the assumption that I'm anyone's favorite, but...
Ego. I'm kidding. You're my favorite.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to start that series off talking about my piece, Intrinsic Light. So that is why I had to make that segue, because talking about the motivation stuff.
I'm excited for that because that's one of the pieces that pandemic year where I had a program. It sounded pretty good at Cambrian College, and then it was like, nope, you're done.
Yeah.
Like,
and you know,
so I've never actually gotten to do it.
I know. And you are among the majority of people in that consortium who didn't get to do it. So we can talk more about that when we record that segment. But yeah, that was really unfortunate timing for that piece, because it was delivered in November of 2019, and then the pandemic hit in early 2020. So really, like, everybody who was a member of that commissioning consortium, pretty much every performance was either canceled, postponed, somehow impacted by that pandemic. And here we are, like 2.5 years later, right? So there's still like not that many performances of that piece. So I'm glad that we're going to get to feature it, because I think now it's out there. It's not under exclusivity anymore. So yeah. There's been a couple. I mean, the premiere was great. My own teacher, Jason Kessler's the one who was conducting it. Yeah. And then also, can you remind me of who is at Rowan University? Yes, Dr. Joe Higgins.
Yeah.
Joseph Higgins. And
that was another fantastic, because I remember you posting about how exciting that performance was.
It was really good. And I was supposed to be there in person, and I couldn't make it. Pandemic related things.
And I got to meet him
their performance was
in
really,
Chicago
really
last
good.
year.
Yeah.
He's great. He's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyway, that's going to be coming out. Intrinsic Light. It's going to be cool. Behind the score. I used to go. I went to high school with a guy who on the dance floor at whatever dance we would have. That was one of his moves. It would be like.
Okay. And we gotta like screen grab that, and for audio only people, Dylan's doing a ridiculous thing where he's putting his hands in front of his face and stuff, and maybe we can like turn it into a GIF.
No, there's already a GIF out there of me conducting a rocket show.
I know, it's so good.
And I gave a thumbs up.
It's so good.
In a performance.
I love that.
I don't know how to. Joanne Harris said we need to like bring it to Apple, whatever images.
Yeah, so that other people can use it. Yeah.
And now, a word from our sponsor. You know, Cait, I often think back to my time at music camp and how important that time was, not only in my growth as a musician, but as a person.
I feel the same way. My first time performing original music in front of a big audience was at a music camp, and many of the people I met at camp are still friends and colleagues of mine today. 2022
marks the 60th anniversary of the Interprovincial Music Camp. That's right, 60 years of being Canada's most comprehensive music camp.
IMC offers specialized camps for all levels of band, orchestra, choir, musical theater, rock, jazz, and songwriting. Students can learn from faculty that include members of major symphony orchestras, Juno and Grammy Award winners, touring musicians, and music educators. Also, new this year is IMC's Beginning Band Camp, open to campers ages 9 to 14.
Located at the beautiful Camp Manitou on Manitowobbing Lake, located in the heart of Muskoka Parry Sound region of Ontario, Canada, IMC facilities are second to none, with fully equipped cabins, outstanding meals with one of the chefs dedicated to preparing meals for those with specific dietary needs.
IMC is unique in that it is centered around music, but also offers a true camp experience, including traditional activities such as swimming, sailing, water skiing, beach volleyball, and much more, as well as evening programs for the campers each night after the faculty concert.
IMC provides young musicians with comprehensive and exceptional musical training, with faculty members who are some of Canada's finest performers and educators. some of which include past bandroom guest, conductor, clinician, and educator Colin Clark, Dr. Colleen Richardson from Western University, Dominic Deshotel, principal clarinet of the Canadian Opera Company, Sarah Jeffrey, principal oboe of the Toronto Symphony, and Vanessa Freilich, associate principal trombone of the Toronto Symphony. They all bring a wealth of teaching experience and performing skills and are passionate about sharing their love of music with young musicians.
Don't miss the opportunity to grow, be inspired, have fun, and make memories that will last a lifetime.
Stay connected by following them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at imc.ca. That's imc.ca. To learn more about how you or someone you know can celebrate 60 years of the Interprovincial Music Camp, visit campimc.ca. That's campimc.ca.
I'm going to skip down to one of the goofy
Okay.
questions just to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to dive into something so controversial right away, but Cait.
Yeah.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? For those of you that watch Stephen Colbert, this is a question he often asks on his Colbert questionnaire.
Okay, I don't often watch Stephen Colbert, so I don't know what people say to this question. I find it really funny. I also don't eat hot dogs, so like I'm probably not the right person to ask, but okay. I do kind of think it's a sandwich in that like there's something in the middle and then there's bread on two sides. It doesn't go all the way around the way like a burrito, is a wrap. Like there are like it's a fold, but there's visually like two sides of bun. Yeah. But no, sometimes the buns come apart. Like it's not always attached, right? Sometimes the bun has a top and a bottom, and I think that makes it a sandwich.
So let me first say my own thing. I'm someone who generally doesn't get really fired up about debates like this, and I'm not. This is what I'm trying to say. So I got no skin in the game for this one.
Yeah.
The argument that is often used is the fact that the bun is connected,
but
makes
it's
it
not
a
always
sandwich.
connected.
You've eaten a hot dog with two separate? Where? Why? Where?
No, they're attached at first, I guess, but like inevitably over the hot dog eating process, they come apart, and like now you've got a top and a bottom bun. I don't know. True. Admittedly, it's been a while since I've had a hot dog, but
then I think the other thing that I don't hear talked about a lot is let's examine an actual sandwich. In its classic form, maybe a peanut butter and jam sandwich or jelly, whatever you want to say.
My fave. The best kind of sandwich there is.
Obviously, two divided pieces of bread.
Yeah.
What would happen if I just sealed one of those edges?
It's still a sandwich.
Still a sandwich.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. Playing, devil's advocate. What would it be if not a sandwich? What are the alternative options?
A peanut butter and jam holding a delivery device, really.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay, this is adjacent to this conversation. It's related. Okay, so my brother posed a similar question a while ago, and I don't think he said that one of his friends brought it up, and probably the friend heard it from somewhere else. So I don't know what the original source of this is, but the idea is that every food can be categorized as a soup, a salad, or a sandwich. And
what?
So like, let's take something like that's not obviously a soup, salad, or sandwich, and then see if you can fit it in. Like pie would be closest to a sandwich because there's like the crust on top and the bottom and a filling in the middle. Right? Or like, is a smoothie like...
I had one this morning.
Yeah, me too. And it's like, okay, that falls into the soup category. Obviously, it's not actually everything is a soup salad or a sandwich, but I guess it's just like a fun mental exercise to like see if you can classify
Fun is a strong word.
I don't know how this came up, but
Yeah.
I was reminded of it when you asked me about the hot dog. So
these are the, and this is great. This leads me to a thought that I have often.
Oh, good.
If you want it to be a sandwich, it will be a sandwich.
Yeah.
If you don't want it to be a sandwich, it doesn't have to be a sandwich.
Yeah.
And it goes to the same thing with some of my research. How are we defining success? How are you defining success for yourself? You define it. No one else does.
Let it be known that on this day in September, Dylan Maddox just connected hot dogs to measures of success.
Yeah. In the wind band profession.
Excellent.
So yeah, just leave it at that. I'm not going to judge you. Cait won't judge you.
No.
You do you and make it a sandwich.
Everything is what we make it, or something like that.
Man. I didn't think that was going to be that long, but it was.
Here we are.
Okay,
I'm going to ask, I guess a more serious one, but particularly because my friend Ashley asks me this every week. We have a nice thing going where we share our weekly wins with one another. And that started earlier this year when, I don't know, we were talking one day. I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this. We were talking one day about how, like on social media and in conversations with friends and family when you're catching up, like you share the really big things, the big announcements, like so-and-so is starting this new job or moving to this new place, or, someone got engaged or someone, what I mean? Like all these big milestones. But what about all the sort of smaller, unseen victories that we all have throughout the week? Like, I finally did this thing that I've been putting off forever, or like I have had a hard time with this and now I can do it now. Like these just kind of like little things that you might not share publicly, but wanting to honor them for ourselves. So we started this thing earlier in the year, and we've been sharing wins with each other every week, and it's just really nice. So anyway, the question from her for us was, what's your win of the week? And it can be big or small, like really significant or something, kind of casual that you're just happy about. What's your win of the week?
Well, one thing I've wanted to do this whole recording is make a lot of noise trying to get it on my chair. No, that's not it. I need to show off my shirt.
Yeah, you do.
It's Baby Yoda, and then it says, "I'm all ears." So I like to wear it. It's good for conductors to have a shirt like this. And this was gifted to me by my dear colleague, who is now Associate Director of Bands at Oklahoma State University, Dr. Phil Vallejo. Give me the shirt because it didn't fit him. So
it's a very fun shirt. I love that. Yeah.
So I guess it's a win.
It's a win in that you feel good about this thing that you're wearing. I think that's good.
Yeah. And I really don't wear t-shirts that often because people make fun of I wear a lot of Mandarin collared shirts. Jason Castor walked into
collar?
It's like it doesn't fold. It's just like.
Okay. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, like those Conductor jackets.
Yeah. Okay, it's not a collared shirt, but it's like a little. Yeah. Okay.
I'm obsessed with those. And Jason Castor walked into the
I don't think I knew that about you.
Yeah. Even this week he walked in the room and he had one of these shirts on, and it was an amazing shirt, and I was like, where did you get that shirt? And we're not sponsored by these people, but Perry Ellis. So so then what did I do that night? I went to Perry Ellis and I bought 4 of them. Not the same color. He did pick the best color though.
Yeah.
Okay, so
my win
match
of the fully.
No. So if you look closely, it's kind of the same pattern. But anyway, I digress. Win of the week. I was telling you before, this whole doctoral degree thing. One of the aspects here at ASU is that all the connectors are connected. We talked to that. Wow, what a community. the other reason we're connected is because we all have to take these repertoire classes. And one of them, which is this semester, is opera rep. And I have an immense respect for people who love opera and that can do it. I don't dig it, but I'm there and I'm doing my thing. So I get to take it with the singers because I can't do the one anyway. But one of the things we have to do is sing recitative, and this week was Orfeo. A little I forget the opera though. Anyway, it was a little recit from that, and Brian Damaris, who's fantastic, he said, prepare like, if you have a measure, you have a measure. If you have a line, you have a line. If you have a whole recit, you have a whole recit. So then I went, what if I have like a note, just one note? No, not enough. So anyway, so we did that, and we have to sing recit but also play at the same time, and which is as my Canadian studies teacher used to say, an issue. It's a really big issue for me because I just really can't play the piano.
Yeah, this is not a skill
because
that
of
you
that,
have developed over
yeah.
years.
Because of that, everything else suffers because you're so obsessed with the fact that you're like, well, that wasn't a D major chord, and you put a seventh on it, and now it sounds dumb. Anyway, but I did it, and that was kind of my win for the week.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
after
that's
the
a big
fact,
win.
yeah, and you should have heard the Italian I was trying to speak. Like my little masterclass with Brian ended up like other people got to work on phrasing and doing these things and like just stretching this line out. And maybe they're actually pianists, so they have like if the words are about twirling or something, the accompaniment can be like that because it's just figured bass.
Word painting.
Mine was like, how do you pronounce this in Italian?
Back to the basics.
And then it was like brutal, but
but
apparently we all have
that's
A's,
okay.
So
that's good. I think you have to start somewhere, and I will recognize your win in that you showed up and you did something, even though it's like super not within your like comfort zone or what you feel you're best at. So you still did it.
And it's that feeling whenever you would like stand in the hallway in your line or whatever, waiting for your training test where you had to sing something and play something in undergrad. It's like, I never thought I would feel like that again. And then I did.
Yeah. I understand.
So, yeah. And I've also, I'm taking counterpoint as well this semester. That's another thing, because I used to teach counterpoint and I used to teach ear training. And these are two things that I just want to apologize publicly to my students. I'm so sorry that I ever put you through those things, because I now fully understand this semester what it feels like again. So we forget that when we end up teaching.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm full of anxiety about this.
Yeah. And that's
anyway.
Okay. It's good perspective to have, right? To like be reminded of that.
Yeah. What's your win of the week?
Well, I've got a couple, but I will just share one, I guess. So I have recently kind of become connected to a community of Japanese Canadian artists across the country. And this is sort of a journey that I've been on for the past couple of years, just trying to make more sense of my this aspect of my identity and connect with people who can relate and stuff like that. And so there's actually this big event coming up where a number of us, I think like 80 of us or something from all over Canada are getting together for the first of its kind gathering of Japanese Canadian artists from multiple generations, multiple artistic disciplines. So this week we had sort of a pre-event meet up on Zoom where we got to just like introduce ourselves and meet one another before we end up going to meet in person. And I didn't feel like going because I was like nervous about introducing myself for some reason. I've like, this doesn't happen to me in the music world that much, but I think because it's like new people, I'm a bit of an introvert, even though that doesn't come across to most people. And I've always felt, this is going to get kind of deep, but like, I've always felt a little bit like I'm not Japanese enough. And I'm also not Canadian enough. I'm not like white enough. I'm not like just this, like the experience of being a mixed race individual, and particularly part of a community that has faced like pretty significant oppression from the government and society and stuff historically. This is the 80-year anniversary of the Japanese Canadian internment, and I know it happened in the States too, so lots of people out there that can relate. But anyway, it's always been a bit of a like uncomfortable thing to navigate that identity stuff. So I was like, how do I introduce myself? And I was just kind of nervous about doing that. But I went, and it was so nice. Everybody was so welcoming and genuine, and like really, really excited to connect with other people who have some shared experiences. And I don't know. I mean, all these people are just incredibly talented and incredibly passionate about their work. And it felt like even though I was nervous about not belonging, I actually think this is the first time I've really, truly felt like I belong fully, because everybody in that group was like me in some way. And I know we talk a lot on this podcast about the power of visibility and representation and all of that in the context of like diverse programming and bringing a wide selection of artists in as guests to the classroom or on the podcast or whatever. Like we've had these conversations before. But it's just funny that I like this applied to myself as an individual in this new kind of context, feeling like, wow, I feel better about myself because I see that there are other people out there that are like me, that are navigating similar struggles and that have similar history and stuff. So yeah, I think that's kind of my win of the week, because it's something new and it was a challenge, and I easily could have bailed and been like, I don't feel good about this, but I'm really, really glad that I didn't. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
And it is one thing to like talk about it so much, about how visibility matters.
Yeah.
And some people talk about it like a little check mark, but whenever you have someone like actually, because you've talked about this before, like having someone come up to you and say, you know, you were the first female composer I've ever played, and stuff like that, or like whatever it is. And for you to actually experience it yourself is so cool. I
know, that's the thing, is I think I'm usually that person for others, right? Like as the composer, I'm usually that person for like students, teachers, audience members, reflecting on their experiences and the significance there. It's been a long time, if ever, that like I've been on the other side of that. Like, oh, I see people like me doing something that I aspire to do. And now I feel empowered by that. And so it was really refreshing to experience that. And it was also a good reminder of what I have to offer to other people, because now that it's like you with the counterpoint and the theory, you're like, oh, now that I'm in this seat, I see the, you know, how this makes a difference, whatever. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we have come, I think, to our final question.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun. And this one is another kind of not goofy, but it's just fun. It's just a fun one.
I like fun questions. Actually, all of these have been fun questions. Like even the mix of serious and silly, like it's all good.
Except for question number 4. No, I'm kidding. You're right. They've all been fun. But this is, if you could have a superpower, not a superpower, but a superpower, what would it be? I've been thinking about this for a while, and
I haven't thought about it at all. But I've been asked this before, but I don't know. I try to like come up with different answers for fun.
Well, I can bring up one that was in a discussion this week, because
go for it.
I was talking about some of these questions with my colleagues, and I told Kevin Joseph this, and he said that his would be teleportation.
Yeah.
Because how crazy would it be just to wake up and be like, okay, I need to go to class. Well, bam, I'm there.
Yep.
But then I was thinking about it, and what's that? It's like a Pixar short, or it was a Pixar movie, but they're like everyone in the future is just on these floating chairs and they're like blob people because they haven't done anything. They haven't moved around anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's what we would become. We would just be overweight and
Big blobs.
Big blobs.
From not having to like walk ourselves to places.
Yeah.
If we could teleport, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But then there's, how do the X-Men characters that teleport, how do they avoid that? Like there's that blue fellow with the tail.
I guess they do lots
And
of
he's
other
always-
stuff that requires like some
always
sort of
jumping from
aspect of
things,
physical
too.
fitness.
Like, but you don't have to jump from things, just teleport.
Right.
Anyway.
Maybe you could only teleport X number of times per day or something like that. Maybe it would require a lot of energy, and so you couldn't just do it all the time. You had to like save your teleportations for like really key moments or something.
I wouldn't mind it because like getting from here in like Phoenix to anywhere like like Toronto East sucks. Like it just sucks.
Yeah.
It's like half a day minimum.
And that's even
To get
within the
anywhere.
same continent, but like,
Yeah.
imagine global travel with the ability to just like get there.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
That's the sound I think it would make. Pew. Okay, but actually, I don't know. I don't want to be super lame, but I guess flight. I like the idea of flight.
I mean, who doesn't want to be able to fly? I think that would be a really cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah. That's all I got. I know.
Plus, that's kind of like it's not teleportation, but like if you could fly somewhere, that also helps
Yeah.
with that problem too.
I
Right?
feel like it would involve more muscle engagement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm super fit now.
Uh-huh.
Doing this. I'm eating healthier, eating less, those kind of things.
Yeah. So
No
that
one would ever
you're
call me
lighter
fit.
so
I'm
you can
kidding.
fly farther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what
No,
I would
that's
go. I would
good.
go flying for no particular reason.
Just because it's cool.
Yeah.
Flying would be fun. Yeah. Okay, well, I historically have said teleportation as well because I think it just is such a practical superpower.
Historically.
Yeah, well, like I've been asked this question before, and I think that's what I tend to answer because it's just there's so many use cases for that.
Right.
Doing residencies all over the world, like I could just be there and then come back. Or like, for example, this fall, there's quite a few things that, like I had to kind of pick and choose what am I going to do so that I'm not, burning myself out by being everywhere all at once. But I would love to be able to just like in a second appear at, let's say, your concert when you're doing Wilderness and then come right back
Mhm.
home so that I can continue doing whatever else. So I do think that would be really cool to be able to do. But I will choose music work related superpower.
Ooh.
I think it would be really fun to just instantly be able to play every instrument.
Oh.
And I know that's not a superpower, but like
I feel like that's like plausible.
I know. So that's why I hesitate to even say that because it's like not out there enough. Like it is something that I could do. And I do play a lot of instruments. But imagine if like immediately I could just like pick up any instrument and communicate through it the way that I
Mhm.
can with the things that I'm good at already. Like that would be cool. Or see, now my brain's going. Or if there was some way that I could avoid the music notation process and I could just skip from having the musical ideas to like it's in the computer.
Super copyist.
Yeah, like because I'm pretty fast with like the programs and stuff, but I still have to like, there's still a lot of labor involved in doing that. And I used to imagine when I was younger, before I knew how to write music, because now at least I do have the skill set necessary to do that. But when I was younger and I had musical ideas, I would wish that there was some machine that I could like plug into my head that would like translate my ideas into real stuff somehow, right?
Wow.
And now that's just like a MIDI keyboard and a mouse and what, like I'm the one
3D
translating
printers.
the ideas. Yeah, but imagining a scenario where like all that work didn't have to happen, and because it's not just for me too, it's like I've heard from a lot of people that are maybe interested in composing or songwriting or arranging, and they're like, well, I have ideas, but I don't really know how to like write them down or whatever. So
Mhm.
imagining that there was a superpower that people could just do that
Yeah.
could be kind of cool.
That's what happened with this Mendez thing. I was like, oh, I can do this. I can make a score.
Yeah.
And I got through the D flat piccolo part. And I was like, hey, EKR Hamill.
Want some coffee?
How much
store?
would this
Yeah.
cost?
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
That's good.
Anyway, but yeah, that would be a good skill. Not skill, superpower.
Superpower. It is a skill that some of us do actually have. And so I think it's a superpower if you don't have to build the skill and you just like right away can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go, folks. Everything you needed to know about us, you've learned in this episode. Connecting hot dogs to success.
I know. I can't get over
Rehearsing.
that. I want to isolate that clip.
Superpowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it. We can post it. Anyway, this has been great. We are going to go on to record a bonus episode where Cait and I will ask each other questions, as well as we have a couple extras in our back pocket that we haven't used. So those will be there. And you can have access to that bonus episode if you become a patron of the podcast by visiting patreon.com/bandroompod. And you'll have access to stickers and lots of fun stuff like that too. So thanks for listening. This has been great, Cait. You're great.
Yeah.
Never change. And
what is this, a high school yearbook?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks so much for spending time with us in the band room. If you want to learn more about anything we discussed in today's episode, check out the links found on our website, bandroompod.com.
If you liked what you heard, make sure to subscribe to the Band Room Podcast, give us a rating and a review, and tell all your friends about how much you enjoyed it.
If you really love the show, maybe you should consider becoming part of our Patreon community, where you can support BRP and get some extra incentives in return. Or you can buy some sweet BRP merch, helping to offset podcast hosting costs and investments into new equipment, so that we can continue to bring you great content and great people.
Follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with what's on the go. If you have any thoughts on today's episode, leave us a comment on our website, bandroompod.com, where your comment might be featured on a future episode of BRP. Our theme music is Skyline, composed by EKR Hamill and performed by Dr. Gillian MacKay and the University of Toronto Wind Ensemble.
Stay safe and be well, bandies. Thanks again for stopping by the Band Room.